Am I out of touch? Is the world weird or is it just me?
Welcome back. It's me, still conscious, barely, because today's episode is a bit of an obstacle course. This is Am I Out of Touch, the show where I try and work out if the world's changed or I have. And today we're covering 3 things that all boil down to the same crime. Nobody's actually listening to anybody anymore. Number 1, text speak, and the abbreviated, vowel-optional, borderline classification nature of the modern message. Number 2, selective hearing, or as I'm increasingly convinced, an actual undiagnosed hearing problem sweeping the nation, entirely coincidentally only affecting requests to take the bins out. And number 3, yawning, specifically the audacity of doing this directly in someone's face, mid-sentence, like they're a lullaby. Let's get into it. I want to read you an actual message I received this week from a member of my own family, who I will not name because she knows who she is and she knows what she did. Hiya, you still coming, Sat? My M8 said she can pick you up BT only if you are REJ by 9, lol, NGL, it's GNAB, a lot, PPL, so bring your own DRINX, ILYSM, kiss. I have read this message 11 times. I have translated dead languages with less effort. Somewhere in there is an invitation, a logistical arrangement involving a vehicle, and what I believe is a declaration of love, and it took me longer to decode than the Enigma machine took Bletchley Park, and they had actual code breakers working in shifts with a whole hut. Now, I'm told by people younger and smugger than me that this is efficient, that typing you costs a whole extra letter and modern life simply cannot absorb the loss. We are the richest, most technologically advanced generation in human history. We've got machines in our pockets that translate Mandarin in real time, and we still can't be bothered to type the word coming. And it's not just abbreviations, it's the confidence of it. NGL. Not going to lie, as opposed to what? The other 90% of your texts, which are lies? Is honesty now such a rare event it needs its own disclaimer, like a warning label on a fairground ride? Don't get me started on emojis replacing entire emotional responses. My niece told me her exam results using one crying laughing face and a skull. I don't know if she passed, I don't know if she's dead. I had to ring her mother to find out if we were celebrating or grieving, and her mother replied with a thumbs up, which again, is that a yes, we're celebrating, or a thumbs up, as it's yes, correct, we are grieving. A thumbs up is not an emotional register, it's an emoji, equivalent of a shrug at a funeral. I once got auto-corrected mid-argument. I was trying to write, I am furious, and my phone changed it to, I am flirtatious, a genuine catastrophic difference in tone, and by the time I'd noticed and apologised, the other party had already blocked me, possibly out of confusion, possibly out of relief. We didn't do this in French. Nobody's out there texting the Académie Française, Je suis là, LOL. English is the one language flexible enough to just let this happen. It absorbed selfie, it absorbed youthquake, which was word of the year once for reasons nobody has ever adequately explained, and now it's absorbing this, a sort of collapsing star of a language, compressing under its own laziness until all that's left is UK and a single aubergine emoji I've chosen as a matter of principle never to look up. Line in the sand. If the message requires a second reading, a phone call and a small prayer, it was not, in fact, quicker to send rather than just ringing me. Now, selective hearing, or as I'm starting to genuinely suspect, an undiagnosed epidemic of hearing loss that remarkably only ever affects one specific category of request. You know, the household. You ask clearly at a normal volume, standing in the same room, can you take the bins out? And nothing. Not a flicker. A man can be sat 2 feet away and the request simply does not land. It's like it's been fired into a black hole specifically calibrated to swallow chores. And yet, And yet the same man from an upstairs bedroom with the door shut and the telly on will hear the crinkle of a biscuit wrapper downstairs with the precision of a bat using echo sound waves. Bin bag inaudible, custard cream deafening. It's genuinely remarkable medically how specific this condition is. We should be studying it. There are men who cannot hear the washing machine's beep from 6 feet away, but can hear their own name mentioned across a crowded pub over music, mid-conversation from an entirely different table. That's not a hearing problem, that's a targeting system. That's military-grade audio filtering, and somehow it's only ever been trained to detect gossip and biscuits. And then the classic move, the "sorry, what?" deployed the instant the request is repeated, buying a precious few seconds to construct a plausible excuse or simply to see if you'll get bored and do it yourself, which, let's be honest, works about 60% of the time, which is exactly why it keeps happening. It's not selective hearing, it's a strategy. It's basically a filibuster, except instead of a senator talking for 9 hours, it's a bloke going, "Sorry, what?" 4 times until you give up and take the bins out yourself, muttering. Line in the sand. If you can hear your own name from 40 feet in a crowded room, you can hear bins from 4 feet in a silent kitchen. We know, we've always known. Get a hearing test if you like, purely for the paperwork, but we both know what the results are going to say.
We'll be right back.
Quick pause, because even I need a breather after that hearing test. If you're the kind of person who actually reads the end of a text, congratulations. You're rare, you're valuable, and you should probably be rewarded for it. That's what the mini rants are all for. Bite-sized bonus rants, subscriber only, $3 a month, dropped straight into your feed while everyone else is still decoding NGL. Link in the show's notes. Right, back to yawning. And finally, yawning. Specifically, the yawn that happens directly in someone's face, mid-sentence, as if the story being told has been personally, physically exhausting to receive. Now, I understand yawning is involuntary. I understand that biologically it's about oxygen and tiredness, and nobody's actually choosing to do it out of malice. Fine. Science. I accept the science. But here's what science doesn't explain. The specific, wide, jaw-cracking, slightly theatrical yawn that happens exactly 4 words into your sentence every single time, like clockwork, like the body's been saving up specifically for this anecdote. You'll be halfway through telling someone about your day. Nothing mad, nothing dramatic, just a normal update about the printer at work, and you'll watch in real time their mouth begin its slow, tectonic opening, eyes watering, head tilting back slightly, and you think, is this really the moment? Is the printer story really what's finally claiming you? And the worst part, the actual worst part, is when they try to talk through it. No, go on, I'm listening, which is simply not true. Nobody has ever listened while doing that. The yawn has full control of the cockpit at that point. You are talking to a skull. And there's a hierarchy of yawn rudeness, genuinely. There's the polite yawn. Hand over mouth, slightly apologetic in the eyes. Fine. Acceptable. We've all been there at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. Then there's the unashamed, full-face yawn. No hand, no apology, just complete resignation to it, like a lion. And then there's the worst of all, the yawn that comes with a little groan at the end, a sort of "ugh," which somehow manages to communicate not just tiredness, but a small amount of personal suffering, as if your printer anecdote had actually taken something out of them physically. And look, here's where I'll be honest, because it's easy to make this a little bit of a laugh. And it is a bit of a laugh, but there's something in it that stings slightly more than it should. A yawn isn't rude on purpose, but it does the same job as rudeness. It tells you instantly, without a word, that you've been switched off. And in a world where there's already compressing every message into you, K, and an aubergine, where half our attention's aimed at a Ring doorbell video of someone else's porch, being properly listened to, eyes open, mouth shut, actually there, is getting rarer, not more common. So maybe the yawn isn't really the crime. Maybe the yawn's just the moment we finally notice we've already stopped being listened to a few minutes earlier, and the yawn's simply polite enough to announce it. Line in the sand. And it's genuinely a soft one. If you feel it coming, at least have the decency to look guilty about it. We don't need you to fight biology, we just need you to seem sorry. Right, the verdicts. Ears checked, mouth closed, as promised. Text speak. Verdict. Not efficient, just illegible, and NGL is not a personality trait. Selective hearing. Verdict. Not a condition, a targeting system, and it's always the bins. Yawning. Verdict. Biologically forgivable, socially devastating, and at a minimum, look a bit sorry about it. If any of that hits uncomfortably close to your group chat, rate it, review it, and send it to whomever last replied to a genuine question without a single thumbs up emoji. And on that note, I'm off to decode another text, ask someone to take the bins out for the 4th time, and tell my printer story to someone who I fully expect to yawn directly in my face before I reach the punchline. Until next time, type the extra letter, take the bins out, and try to stay awake for the whole story. Don't forget you can leave me a live voicemail on speakerpipe.com/am I out of touch. I'm on YouTube and all of your podcast platforms. Till next time. If you made it all the way here without checking your phone once, genuinely well done. You're the exception, not the rule. Do me a favour, rate the show, leave a review, and send this episode to the one person in your group chat who replies to everything with a single thumbs up. They need it more than anyone else. And if you want more of this, subscribe for the mini rants, follow on socials, and I'll see you next week, assuming somebody actually tells me when it's Tuesday. Till next time.